Yeah, there are connection issues. Leonidas, you're right. This is Leonidas, and he sent me his footage and asked for help because he's got connection issues at the catch. And the question is, how do you change that? And what are the connection issues? Well, the problem occurs right here. When you're here, what most coaches want you to do is connect quickly. To what? To the water. How? You want to have essentially lock on the water as if you could hold to a brick or to a handle. You have to see the water like a handle, and you hold on to the water with your blade. And you can only hold the handle if your blade stops moving up and down the moment you catch. So you have to do everything to make this happen. There's an excellent drill I practiced during one of the rowing camps last week. This is how it works. You go into a standstill position and you let the blade float. In terms of grip, you have a loose hook grip on the hands, but you don't interfere with the handles vertically, not at all. And what you will see is that the blade will sit about 2 centimeters with the top edge above the water line. That's it. The moment you apply horizontal force, the geometry of the blade leads to the point where the blade sets itself. So it goes just about half a centimeter underneath the water surface, because that's the optimal position for a blade to be. Why don't you want to go deep? Well, as long as you go deeper and deeper, you essentially push more water aside. And the blade also, usually when you put an oar in the water, it doesn't sink. Blades float. So what happens with the blade when you put it in the water? Well, it will push back up. And that's what you see. Watch just rowers row. Usually you see the deeper they go in, the faster they come out. Why don't we want that? Because it creates slip. What is slip? When the blade goes down into the water, then you apply horizontal force, or as you go down with the blade into the water slips above and below the blade. Therefore, you don't have a solid hold. The water doesn't function like a handle. How can it function like a handle? Let it rest still. And that's exactly what the drill is all about. Let it rest still, then apply force, and it will place itself. And your objective here at the catch is to do everything in your power not to interfere with the blade height anymore. That means you have to have ultra stable hands, vertically ultra stable hands. Your main objective is to go together and to go back, both. So don't apply these linear erg technique principles where you just pull back, because this isn't going to work, and that's your second problem. By the way, if you're interested in that technique drill, want to see the water footage I've got, write a comment and I happily make a dedicated video about this. Super important and really helpful. It's an eye-opener. Here, you row the boat like an erg. On the erg, you can actually start to throw your upper body back with stiff shoulders right around the catch. You can essentially row it like a deadlift. And the reason why you have connection issues is that you row that single like you row the erg, and it doesn't work this way. At that stage, your shoulders should be going forward and together. So you use a bit of your pecs. You definitely keep your shoulders long and low, and you want to have a pre-stretch in your lower arms, armpits essentially. When you're at the catch and you stiffen up, so you retract the shoulders and you do that, you are braced, but you don't feel the resistance. So you do this, and you never get into a good suspension. And suspension is the ultimate thing we're looking for. So what you need to do at the catch, make sure your weight is on the butt and on your foot stretchers. So you could do that anytime you want. Light hands. And then at the catch, you pre-place when the bottom edge of your blade has caught on. All you do is go in. Look at the force curves. They're going up immediately. There's no loss. There is no wobble or multiple buildup. All I do is I make myself long, I exaggerate. So I feel the stretch here. And at the same time, I'm going together around the pins. And if you do this, make sure your hands don't go up. Maybe more. You are spot on. The issue arises when you're too stiff. You cannot lengthen out, therefore you cannot compensate, and then you have to go around the hip joint. And the other thing I meant when I said you roll the boat like a linear erg is on the linear erg, this here works. I exaggerate, but you do somewhat of that. But in the boat, it doesn't. You need to go together and be smooth like a cat. And if you are not that smooth, you can never get into that nice hanging suspension. That motion, that excessive rigidity and that excessive stiffness at the catch is exactly why you can't connect. You are, visually speaking, stable and braced. You're not looking for grip on the water. You're looking for a stable body position. But your main objective is to look for grip on the water. Where is that handle? The handle, the solid water bubble you hold on to, only works if your blade doesn't go up and down. This is why I'm a big fan of, for example, Helen Glover style. Row it in, let it be exactly where it should be. Many rowers have that style. It's extremely effective. For another reason, if you first place the blade and then push, you're going to stop the boat because it interrupts the boat speed. You have to, I call it let the blade bite and then let the blade set itself, because you do essentially that. So be long. So 2 things to avoid: stop moving the blade up and down at the catch, place it and start to let it bite and then let it place itself. Only focus on horizontal work. Your main objective here is to keep your handle so stable that your body motion does not interfere with handle height anymore. That requires you to become a bit softer and rounder here. And that's what I see you changed over the last 2 videos, because you wrote me that you worked on your connection has improved. What you effectively have done is you became a bit softer around your shoulder blades. And that is important. If you're too rigid and too stiff, you cannot really find good hold on the water, and therefore you are not picking up the speed right away. The trick to have an extremely fast pickup at the catch is not to be too rigid, not to work too hard in terms of, it's more elegant. Feel the hook, go with it. And that's also the beauty. So a milestone for you, or a waymarker, or something you could be looking for. Make sure that your eyes focus on about that part here, where my cursor is. If you do this, your water line will be visible for you. That means at the catch you see at that stage if the water is continuously flowing or not. And there should be absolutely zero interruption. I mean zero, nothing. That really is the goal. And there are specific drills for that. But at the catch, that boat should float uninterruptedly. And if you look at this, it's stopping. It's stopping because your blade's going too deep, coming back up. You're looking for resistance, but your shoulder is too stiff. Therefore, you can't find proper connection. And because you can't find proper connection during the catch, you also don't have it during the drive. Not really. And therefore, your upper body swing is not as effective as it actually could be, because your shoulders are not as suspended in the first place as much as they should be. It's not just the shoulders, it's actually the entire shoulder package. So pretty much anything above that yellow line of your rowing suit, and here the shoulder blades up. To me, it's the shoulder blades here, it's the armpits, the shoulder blades here in the back. It's almost a protraction forward. This is extremely important. You don't need to look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but you have to give it a bit of roundness. I recently did a video on that Danish lightweight men's 4 Olympic champions. They had a lot of that. It was absolutely gorgeous.